Sometimes when you make content that is focused on things that you buy, you get a little too thirsty and open those things up before you can actually make the content on them. Well, right here we have part 2 of that series. This time a bunch of scale figures that I picked up over the last few months that I was a little too thirsty to open before I could actually get on camera and open them for you guys. So today we have these 6 series, some of which are from some of the series that we talked about last time, one of which is from a series that we haven't talked about. Well, I guess we have talked about on this channel before, but they are all figures that I unboxed before I could get to the camera. And so yeah, let's just go through them one by one. Now, before we get into the video, if you enjoy what you see here or any of my other content, please go ahead and click that like and subscribe button. Let me know that you fox with your boy the long way, you feel me? And it really gives me motivation to keep pumping these videos out. I talk about anime, manga, figures, pretty much anything around kind of anime community stuff. I'm in the mix. And I'm really planning to do even more interesting things for this channel that I'm really excited to show you guys. Anyway, I'm not gonna ramble on too long. Let's go ahead and talk about the first figure in this collection of things that I've been dying to talk about with you guys. So much like what we did with the prize figure video, we're going to start off with Akane, this time in a 1/7 scale from KD Collection. Now, one thing you must know about me, I love the 1/7 scale. I feel like it slides perfectly in my collection. 90% of my figures, 99% of my figures are 1/7 scale. Well, my scale figures are 1/7 scale. Now, this one is taken directly from the anime / manga from the Awaken scene. There is one key thing that you do need to know about this figure. It comes in 3 different versions. One without the bonus, which is the one that I have, one with the bonus faceplate and hair plate, one with the bonus faceplate, hair plate, as well as like some picture thing, I don't know. Now, if you are gonna get this figure, I'm gonna give you all the reasons why you should 100% get the one with the bonus faceplate. But first of all, let's talk about some of the things that we enjoy about this figure. Now, starting at the top with the hair and the face, I do like this depiction of Akane, though I will argue that the Trio Triad is a little bit better, and I would have preferred to have that pose and depiction in a scale figure as opposed to this one, because this one leans so heavily on the Awakened face. This face doesn't really make as much sense. It's, you know, obviously it's something she did before she hit the eyes. To offer this figure without that as the standard default face is perplexing to me, because I think that really makes the figure. Now, the look of this face is fine. It is pretty accurate. I do like the eyes. I think Akane's eyes are absolutely beautiful. I just think if we were going to do Akane with a regular face, it should have come in maybe a different pose or trying to communicate something a little bit differently about this character. She is presented with her standard short bob, and for the most part it is nice. I don't love these little strands coming off the side. I also think that there aren't enough defined strands, especially in the back of the head of the figure. However, overall it is decent, at least. Now, what I do think this figure does really well is the clothing. I think this is probably one of the most manga and anime accurate depictions of her school outfit available right now. The colors are spot on. The navy blue in the vest, as well as the slightly different blue in the tie. The skirt looks great. And then with this being a scale figure, you're also getting a little color washing on the skirt to kind of give it a little life, a little definition. I love the way the skirt is also pushing to the side, much like the Trio Triad did. And this pose, honestly, it's not terrible. I just feel like it is elevated so much more with the Awakened face. Now, it's the same thing with the skin. Looking at the skin of this one as opposed to the Trio Triad, I'm going to continue to compare those, so bear with me. The skin tone on this looks way more lifelike than the Trio Triad. I think the Trio Triad looks a little bit pale. This one definitely gives Japanese woman, fair-skinned Japanese woman. So definitely feels a little bit more lifelike, or about as lifelike as like an anime figure is gonna look. And probably my favorite thing about this figure is the shoe and sock combo. Really love the way that the shoes are done. I just love love the color. They're kind of like a burgundy brown. They do have a little bit of a sheen on them too to give them a little bit more of a lifelike feel to them. And then the socks, which have like a slight bit of color washing on them just to give them a little bit of definition. Now, overall, I would say this is a relatively good figure. I think the rumples in the clothing, the pose, like the look of the figure, it's Akane. I love Akane. Like, I'm happy to have this figure, but I wish I had not have been so thirsty to get my hands on this figure, because I got this one probably back in like December or maybe January when this figure was first kind of releasing. I should have waited a little bit longer because I paid too much for it, one, and two, I didn't get the bonus face with it. So I wish I would have waited a little while, and I know that this is still at least available, or at the time of making of this video at least, still available at retail on the, I think, Good Smile Company site, and they have it in the 2 bonus options, so depending on how much you want to pay for the figure. But I will say I probably paid enough for this figure to have gotten both of the bonuses. So this is a lesson to you all. Wait. Okay, if you can't get the figure when it first comes out, wait. It'll probably pop up again either on the secondary market or it will pop up again on another site that didn't have it when it first released, or it may have sold out or pre-order sold out. It will probably pop up again. You can probably get it within the release window. Just wait. I should have waited. One more thing, I did not talk about the base. I think the base is fine. It is probably the worst of the bases that we're going to talk about in this video, but it is solid enough, right? Solid enough. It looks like a wooden floor. It conveys that well enough. I think it works well with the figure. I don't know what I expected it to be, but I think it matches up with the scene pretty well. And she is on, I believe, a 3-peg system. I think it's two peg ends from the shoes here, and then 1 peg here down on the bottom. So she is pretty secure on her base, doesn't wobble too much. That's something that's kind of important to me, and we will talk about in another figure in this particular video. It's a really solid figure. I would say it is its best version, and maybe even a great figure when you have the bonus face, but it is solid without the bonus face. If that's your only option and you are a fan of Akane like myself, go ahead and get it. I just wish I had waited and have debated with myself on going ahead and buying the one with the bonus and buying the same figure twice, purely because I think that bonus faceplate and hair plate makes a big difference in the presentation of this figure and elevates this from decent to like great. So yeah, Akane. Okay, so next up we have another figure I picked up during the holiday season. This time it is the Kotobukiya Frieren Beyond Journey's End. This one, I forgot what the name of it is, but she's basically floating over a bed of flowers. When I say that this is probably one of the best figures in my collection, it is not the best, but I would say I have 2 figures on this list that are about as close to perfect figures as you can get. This is one of them. This figure is absolutely incredible. I have very few complaints about it. Her hair, and I'm like a big proponent of good and well done hair, and this one is just chef's kiss. I really love how the pigtails are done. They could have gotten lazy and kind of globbed it together and gave you a few individual strands at the end. No, it is pretty well stranded out on the sides here, and even though her hair up at the top is, you know, pretty tight and pretty much like a glob, so to speak, it's still pretty well defined as well. So you can really get the sense of the hair, and then I love how dynamic it is too, which matches up very well with the dynamic pose she's in. Her face is great, and this one actually came with the bonus faceplate. This one I did get the bonus faceplate with, and I've never used it because I just love the facial expression that she had by default with this figure. It's this really kind of like slick, like, oh, like I told you I could do this look, which is very Frieren to me. Like I feel like Frieren has like a certain level of like smugness about her from time to time, especially when someone doubts that she should do something or wonders why she's even doing it. A lot of times it's because she can, and I feel like that's what this face really conveys. This kind of reminds me of that like little arc where she was searching for that spell so she can make the blue flowers around Himmel's statue in that one city, and this really puts me in mind of that, and I just loved that particular episode just what it was kind of conveying really got to me. I enjoyed it. And so this puts me in mind of that. No, this is not exactly that, but it does remind me of that. Moving on to her clothing, I think her clothing is great. I mean, it's about as accurate to the manga and the anime as you can possibly get. The colors, the paint job are excellent. There are like not really any flaws in it at all. I think the sculpting on it is great. The rumples look really good, feel really dynamic. You really get the sense of Frieren floating, and she just looks absolutely real in this, in the way that it's sculpted and the way that it's posed. Even her boots are like really well done, really well sculpted. They have like a little bit of color washing on them to give them some definition. It's the same thing with the outfit. I do love like these little hits of like kind of translucent pieces where there's supposed to be jewels in her ears, on her staff, on this little piece on her staff. I don't think they use the same thing on her like shoulders and her cuffs, but it still kind of has like a little pop of red, and it's not sloppy at all. It looks really good. And I think the biggest thing about this is the base. I love this base. It is both compact, so it fits really, really well on a shelf, but it is also incredibly detailed. I mean, each of these individual flowers are pretty well sculpted. They're not painted quite as well as the figure is, which is, you know what? I'll give it a pass for that, purely because these are all small, individually sculpted flowers. This is not a print. They all have like depth and texture to them, as well as the grass on it and this like little like stone kind of piece that she's on. And then you even have like little flower petals sticking to the stone. I mean, this is just an incredibly detailed figure. A lot of care went into making this, you can tell. I mean, I think even with the hair, it's like white, but it's got like a little bit of something to it to make it really, really pop. And this is just a great figure. If you have been considering this figure, I would 1000% recommend buying this one. In fact, I would probably recommend buying this one before the market kind of gets crazy on it, because I could see this one, you know, in a few years fetching ridiculous prices. Because so far, I think, and I know some people like the clay nail one. I think the clay nail one is good. You have that Good Smile one coming out later on this year, or may already be shipping or be shipping in the coming months. That one looks good. I'm considering getting that one myself, but this one just, it's Frieren. And I think this figure just says Frieren so much. I am praying that they do a Fern counterpart. Kotobukiya specifically does a Fern counterpart for this, because one, we only have really that I know of. I haven't checked in a little while, but that I know of, we only have one Fern figure, scale figure announced, and that's that one that's like kind of goes with the Frieren figure. And I just think we need more love for Fern. She's getting a lot of like prize figures. She's getting Nendroids and all that good stuff. And I love that, but I want a scale Fern that would slot nicely with this Frieren. So Kotobukiya, please make it. But yeah, this Frieren figure is incredible. I love this figure. If you're a fan of the show, if you're a figure collector, I feel like this is just a must-have. Okay, next up from Good Smile Company, we have Wandering Witch, The Journey of Elaina, and I think this is the Summer Sky version. 1/7 scale figure. I really have a weird relationship with Elaina. I'm not terribly familiar with too much of her source material. I have read 3 of the 5 versions of the manga that have come out, but I have not watched the anime, and I have not read the light novels, which is still ongoing, and I think really where this character is mostly comes from, or is mostly is known from, that in the anime. But when I saw her character design, I loved it from the start. I don't know what it is about her that like really drew me in, but I got really into collecting her figures. In fact, she may be the 2nd or 3rd most figures that I have, because I have quite a few Arima figures, I have quite a few Mitsuri figures, and I have quite a few Elaina figures. Those are like my 3 favorites, my 3 pillars or whatever of like figure collecting, I guess. I don't know. But I said all that to say that I love this figure. This is a great figure, and it would have been on the Mount Rushmore, or maybe been in like that perfection conversation if it were not for the next figure that we're going to talk about. But let's take a closer look at the details of this figure. Starting up top, which is where I usually like to start, the hat. Tons of details in the hat. I think the band is done really, really well. The hat itself is sculpted really, really well. I love the details that are in the band of the hat, as well as the little trinket on the back of the hat. And then you have her face, which is absolutely adorable and blush worthy. I mean, she is so cute. Just standing there looking kind of lost, a little perplexed, but also cute. And then you have her hair, which I think is really, really well done. Lots of individual strands there, which is a big thing to me. We just talked about that. And I think one thing that is of note, her hair isn't just like white silver. It kind of has this like pinkish purple wash over the top. It's kind of like a gradient that falls down to the, you know, full silver tips on the end. Now, I don't think that is necessarily show accurate or manga accurate or whatever accurate. I think this is like a bit of an interpretation, much like the outfit on this figure, but I still think it's cool. It's also notable that the hat does have a magnet in it to help it stick to the head. Always love that magnet feature on the hats just to make it fit a little bit better. Now, moving down into her outfit is absolutely adorable. I think the colors are really well done because it has like this really muted shade of like bluish green on it, and then this kind of off-white dress on top of it, and it really makes the colors kind of pop up off the figure. And then I do love the fact that they also kind of painted the inside of the hat the same color as the shirt, just to make it stand out a little bit more. Then you have her robe, which is incredibly detailed, very well painted, and that's one thing that I did not point out. I think that this figure is so beautifully painted. Just the use of colors, just a little hint of color washing to give it like some life, some depth. But her robe has some really great details going around it. Love that gold trim. Love the little details around the bottom of the robe and the little belt coming off of it. I mean, just mwah, beautiful. Chef's kiss. Chef's kiss. Gotta give it one. Her boots, which is probably my favorite part about this. The boots look absolutely incredible. Being that I'm a bit of a fashion guy, this whole outfit is serving all day long. And then her trunk, and it's like really rich burgundy red with the pink accents, looks really good and pretty well painted. Will say that the straps on this I guess they could have done like a little better job with these. I get what they were going for. They were trying to make like the straps, the little pink parts, look a little bit more weathered, and instead of looking weathered, it just looks a little bit sloppy, especially compared to how impeccably well the rest of the figure is painted. I think they missed the mark just a little bit there, but I get it. It's just down here on the bottom. It's not quite as important as the full figure. The broom looks good, has some texture in the handle just to make it look a little bit more lifelike. And then I actually really like the base. The base is simple, but yet it has like really like this three-dimensional kind of stone, and it really looks like stone. On your shelf, it looks like stone. I think they did it incredibly well. It has a little bit of color washing on it, different colors for some of the stones. It has kind of like a different color pattern going on. And of course, Elaina is just pegged in on, I think, 2 pegs. I think it has a peg that goes, I haven't taken it off in a while, but I think it has a peg going into this foot, and then it has like the raised kind of clear attachment here in the back just for that lifted foot look. But yeah, this is a really great figure. It is one that is on the expensive side, and I kind of understand why it is a little bit pricey because it is really, really detailed. And I think you can kind of tell the difference between some of the figures that are a little bit cheaper versus the ones that are a little bit more expensive. I think there's a little bit more care put into the details, and this one has it in spades. So yeah, the Good Smile Company, Wandering Witch, Journey of Elaina, Summer Sky version, I think it's called. Great figure if you've been thinking about this. I don't really hear too many people talking about Elaina. I know that like this series does have its fans, and her figures especially have their fans because there are a lot of them on the market. I just don't see too many people talking about them. So I like to throw my Elaina figures in the mix if you have any questions about it. But yeah, great figure. Buy it, you know. Buy it. Okay, so next up we have the one figure that I would say is the best figure in my collection. I mean, just purely from a design and like craftsmanship perspective, this figure is absolutely incredible. Of course, once again, we are talking about Wandering Witch, Journey of Elaina. Once again, it is Elaina. This one is from the Katie collection, or Katie Cole, or whatever you want to call it, but it comes from Kadokawa, and man, did they knock this figure out of the park. It is large, it is heavy, it is very well detailed, and it is probably one of the best bases that you're gonna get from, you know, one of the figures, at least in this particular price point. This base is fantastic and very imaginative, but we will get to that. As I like to do, let's start from the top. Once again, we have another great hat on Elaina, and one thing I will call out, this is her more light novel, anime, manga accurate look with the purple hat, purple jacket. It looks like a school uniform. It's not a school uniform, but it looks more like a uniform. This is the more accurate Elaina kind of look. And man, it is great. The one complaint I would have about this is the fact that the hair is not quite as well done as it was on the Good Smile figure. There's just not a ton of individual strands on here. It does feel like it's globbed together, but her face is excellent. Her face looks so good. It definitely leans a bit more into like anime aesthetic, where I think the Good Smile one maybe bordered on realism a little bit. This one definitely looks like it came straight out of anime, but it is fantastic. It is so good. So good. I love the details on her clothing. I think they absolutely nailed the clothing. Very like layered color washing on it, really dynamic pose, really dynamic sculpting on it. It just, the shade of purple looks spot on. It looks exactly like the cover of one of the mangas that I have. Just fantastic. Love the dynamic pose that's going on here. Love the details in the accessories on her hair, her brooch, her tie, like her bag. Her bag is great. It is way, you can barely see it, and it is so detailed. It is so detailed for no reason. I mean, it looks like a bag you could take off and put on yourself. It is so good. Her boots are so good. Her skin tone is fantastic with a little bit of color washing over that. I mean, they just nailed this figure to the T. It is so good. It is really good. And it is a very expensive figure too. I mean, this one is like 200 plus, like price wise. Now, I didn't pay that much because I got it from Akari and I got a really great deal on it. But man, I was looking at buying this at like full price, and I was so glad to be able to get it at the price that I did. Also, magnetic hat. Always gonna love the magnetic hat. Just kill it with that. Once again, her pose is fantastic. I love any figure of Elaina or her broom. There is a scale figure from Frieren that is not even that good that I want to get, just because I like when Elena's on her broom. Her broom looks really good. It's got some really nice detail going through it. I don't think it's quite as good, once again, as the Good Smile one, but I'm going to give it a pass because it just works well with the execution of this figure. And of course, we cannot go away from this without talking about the base. Wonderful base. Starts off kind of as this book here, and it moves into like this cloud that Elena's kind of standing on. She's pegged in here and here, and also the broom is pegged in back here. So I think that's a really cool detail. And then you kind of have the cloud coming all the way up here, and then this particular accessory piece is slotted in right up here, and it kind of gives you those effects coming off of Elena's wand, which once again, I did not mention this, but done really well. Very simple up here, and then you just get this nice kind of shine coming down at the handle. I mean, this, I could gush about this figure all day. This is a really good figure. It is just a pricey figure. You have to really like Elaina to get this figure, and I happen to really like her character design, so it was nothing for me to pull the trigger on this. But oh my god, this KD collection Elaina figure is hands down the best figure in my collection. That may change at some point in time, but it probably won't be anytime soon because tariffs. I mean, tariffs is yeah, tariffs. But until something else comes into my collection that can blow this out of the water, I just don't see it for a long time. This is a great figure, and I love it, and I think you would love it too if you got it. So next up, we have this Kotobokyo 1/8 scale Amelia figure from ReZero. And I love Amelia, okay? Let me just start by saying that. I love ReZero. You saw I had some ReZero figures from in the last haul or the last video that we did like this. I love ReZero. ReZero is probably one of my favorite series of all times. And Amelia has been best girl for me since the very first episode. I have been vibing with her since the very beginning. This is probably one of my least favorite Amelia figures. Now, I did not pay attention to the scaling on this figure when I first bought it. I just bought it because I thought the pose was cute and the price was right. This figure is okay. I think it's painted pretty well. I think the clothes are done well. It's pretty accurate. Her hair is a little off. Her hair is more silver purple, which I guess by description is probably a little closer to what her hair is actually, but the way it's depicted in like the anime and manga is a little more white silver than like this. And so that threw me off a little bit. But I think the sculpting is really solid on it. It's just a pretty small figure. That's like my biggest gripe about it, is that it's a pretty small figure. And I also don't like the seam line right here across the waist. With that said, there's still a ton of good stuff that this figure does. The paint job is really, really good on this. I think that they did a great job of making the clothes look dynamic and having like a little bit of a lifelike posing to it. Her jewels are really great. Love this kind of ice crystal that she's making. This ice crystal base that she's sitting on is very decent. You know, it's not like the greatest, but it's kind of cool. It is honestly kind of cool. Her outfit is Amelia-like, if not maybe like a little bit sexy too, you know, and I never really look at Amelia's outfit as being sexy. In fact, she's generally like the least sexy character in ReZero, in my opinion, outside of maybe Krush. Well, I would argue Krush has a different type of sexy going on with her, but not the way she looks. I think this depiction is kind of sexy, if not unintentionally. Her face is also pretty good in this one. I will give it that. I think the face is really, really well done, but not a ton to say about this one because I just don't like it very much, if I'm being quite frank. It's an okay figure. I think it's a nice piece to have on my shelf. I think it is a little undersized. I think if it had came in like that 1/7 scale with the same pose and everything, this figure would look a lot better on the shelf. I think it kind of gets hidden, and it's a little too detailed to be a prize figure, but it kind of gives me prize figure vibes, and I don't like that. But either way, I got a great deal on Mercari. I think I probably paid like $70 for it. So, and I think that was with shipping and tax and everything, about 70, maybe $80 for it. So I'm not really mad at it. Good figure for that price, but I would not recommend you buying it unless you get it for under $100. And really, if you can get it under like $80 or $70 secondhand, that's even better. All right, so for our final figure of this, one that is approaching that perfection to me, but isn't quite as good as the other two, and that is going to be this Good Smile Company ReZero Starting Life Over in Another World from Zero, Amelia 1/7 scale figure. This figure is excellent. This is my Amelia tan, okay? This is my Amelia. All right, like her hair is spot on point, if not maybe a little bit fragile because of the way it's up here, but I do love the way that they did individual strands. There's lots of definition in the like clump together here, and then you have all these really beautiful kind of individual strands coming off of it, which is great. I think the execution of the outfit really well done, really, really, really well. The paint job is great. I think the paint job is slightly better than the last one that we looked at, but the paint job is great. They really nailed all those details. The emblems, the gold trim, the little purple trimming around her like boots, around her bustier, like around the flower, everything. There's a really nice amount of color washing in it, and it's all kind of like a little bit like purplish pink, which I love about this. Of course, the dynamically sculpted clothing, which gets to me every time. And of course, I mean, she's serving it right up here in the bustier area, you feel me? It looks really good. Love the like jewel on her necklace that she typically holds Puck in. I mean, of course, if you've been following ReZero right now, she ain't got Puck right now, but no spoilers. The boots have a little bit of a sheen on it. And of course, she's hitting this really, really dynamic pose that just makes her look like she's like flowing across in a very like elegant way. I have never seen Amelia look more elegant and more regal. And then even like the fingertips are painted, which is great. Like I love that about that. The accessories are done really, really well. I think Good Smile put a lot into this. And this figure is probably one of the older figures in my collection. I actually found this on eBay for a decent deal, less than I have found it everywhere else, but it still was kind of expensive, I'm not gonna lie. And of course we have the base, which is probably my biggest problem with it. Not that I hate the base per se. I think a figure that looks this good definitely deserved a slightly better base. But one, it's not like the most sturdy thing in the world. Two, It's leaning a little bit too much on the shape to kind of give it that kind of pop or that thing that makes you feel like it's a worthy base, but the base itself is a little bit bland. It looks like a ice sickle, basically. And I get it because of the connection to the character, but I would have liked to seen a little bit more. Like, even if we could have gotten like a piece that kind of connects to this foot here to make it feel more secure, that would have been really nice. I don't know what I would have expected out of the base, but I know that this particular base is just okay. It's just very doable, which is it's fine. In the grand scheme of things, what matters the most to me is the figure. And this is definitely one of my favorite figures in my collection because, man, I every time I walk into like my studio space here, because she usually sits on this shelf right here, and she's like right there at the front, I always just look at her and I'm like, man, this is a good looking figure, man. This is a damn good looking figure. So I'm pretty impressed with it. I would say I have 2 Good Smile figures on this list, and I would argue that Good Smile, when they want to, can make some really, really good scale figures, because both of these are really good scale figures, though they could have done a little bit better with the base. And speaking of the base, she is just pegged in on this one raised peg here. So, but yeah, overall, really, really good figure. Would highly recommend it if you could find it for like a good price. Alrighty, and there you have it. These are all the scale figures that I have unboxed off camera so far. I was just a little too thirsty to get to you guys. I just had to open them up and see what was inside. Plus, I was really, really pressed to put them on my shelf because my shelves were looking hella empty, but now they're looking kind of full, if you can see. They have gradually gotten more and more full over time to the point where I've kind of slowed down my figure buying over the last few like weeks and months. I have a few like in my Big Bad Toy Store loot box that I need to have shipped to me, but I have not been any rush because I'm like, where am I gonna put them at? With that said, if you enjoyed this video, please click that like and subscribe button, turn on those post notifications if you wanna know when I'm dropping something new. I think because my content, even though I'm talking about a particular, I don't know if it's a particular, but it's like a kind of a genre of things, because they are all so different and have different people that watch them. The algorithm doesn't know how to serve my stuff. So a lot of times my stuff doesn't show up in your feed. If you turn on those post notifications, you will know when I drop that next piece of content just for you. So please check me out. Go ahead, click those buttons. Let me know that you fox with your boy the long way, you feel me? So I got quite a few videos coming down the pipeline. I kind of took a little bit of a break just so I could build up a little bit of content so we can get back on our consistently weekly schedule. But I think what I really want to start doing is like locking in some series, some things that you're going to see every, month. You're going to see it once a month, me talking about manga pickups, maybe me talking about stuff that I read for the month, maybe like a figure review or whatever. But I want to slot in at least 2 videos that you are going to see for sure every month, and then the other couple of videos will be whatever I come up with, whether it be a vlog or like whatever it is, a think piece, like whatever I want to do, they'll be slotted in for the month as well. Anyway, thank you so much for watching this video, and if you enjoyed this, you'll probably like one of the 2 videos you see on the screen. And as I always say, let's continue to talk about the things that we like, the things that we don't, and everything in between. And until next time, peace.